Hello, this is Pastor Josh, and this is the view from my chair. It is a beautiful view today, beautiful because there is rain outside. It has filled up the creek down below and continues to come. So I am thanking the Lord today for answering our prayer for rain. But the even more beautiful sight is the beautiful sight into God's Word. And we're looking at Hosea chapter 5, verses 1 through 7 today. Hosea 5, 1 through 7, in many respects, is a recap of what we saw in chapter 4. Some of the same judgments are announced by Hosea in respect to the unfaithfulness of God's people. And so in verses 1 and 2, there is a poetic announcement against a judgment against the leaders of Israel. This is the priest, the house of Israel, the royal house, all statements of the apparatus of leadership in the land of Israel. This, in many respects, is recalling the charges that were laid out in God's case against the people in chapter 4, verses 4 through 11. The leadership influence that was supposed to bring good and flourishing for the people instead has become a source of death, a snare, a net spread out, involved in slaughter. Some translators will even refer to this as a deep pit. That's another way to translate the Hebrew that is translated there. Regardless, all of this points to death as the result of these leaders instead of life. But as we have seen, he's going to continue on and picks up again language from chapter 4. The results amongst the people are shown in verses 3 all the way down through verses 6. Picking up Ephraim and Israel recalls the critique of chapter 4, verses 12 through 19. This is the results of the people's unfaithfulness, leadership, and otherwise. They have acted promiscuously. This is that theme of spiritual adultery that has showed up throughout Hosea, with the picture of marriage constantly in the background, though not in the foreground here. The condition of Ephraim and Israel is such that they cannot return to their God. Their arrogance and iniquity has caused them to stumble. Iniquity here, arrogance here. And even Judah will stumble with them. Perhaps the worst judgment possible is that God has withdrawn from them. Though they seek him, they will not find him because God has withdrawn from them. The condition of both Israel and Ephraim is grave to the point of doom. God is not there even though they seek him. And all of this culminates in this final statement of judgment. Remember the case begun by God in chapter 4, verses 1 through 3, the case against the people. Well, now the final verdict is given. They are guilty. The judgment has been announced. They betrayed the Lord. And then in an important and equally gripping expression, they gave birth to illegitimate children. Remember the Genesis paradigm that Hosea and Gomer serve as a picture of God and Israel, and God and Israel are intended to be in a relationship like Adam and Eve. And Eve's role in the context of that relationship was to fill the earth with life, with new image bearers. But Adam and Eve failed, and now Israel has failed to fill the earth with new image bearers, but instead has filled the earth with illegitimate children. That word illegitimate in Hebrew is the word strangers, strange children. Instead of filling the land with image bearers, now the land is filled up with arrogance, with iniquity, with promiscuity, with violence. These are things that are the opposite of what image bearers are supposed to be. And God looks out at his creation, his covenant partner Israel, supposed to fill the earth with image bearers, has now filled the earth with beings that are unrecognizable. They do not bear the family resemblance of Yahweh God and his character of truth, of justice, of love. This is a stinging indictment against Israel, but also against all of humanity. And because, again, the emphasis falls on those priests, it reminds us of the necessity of preachers and teachers of God's Word to be faithful. I was reminded as I read this morning of Jude chapter 3. Dear friends, although I was eager to write to you about the salvation we share, I found it necessary to write, appealing to you to contend for the faith that was delivered to the saints once for all. For some people who were designated for this judgment long ago have come in by stealth. They are ungodly, turning the grace of our God into sensuality and denying Jesus Christ as our only Master and Lord. May we contend for the faith, continuing to call God's people to submission to Jesus Christ, our only Master and Lord, so that when God looks at us, he doesn't see strangers, but actually his children. And may God bless you as you do this.